Welcome to English Podcast Academy, where learning English feels simple, personal, and fun. Hey, it's Olivia. I'm really glad you're here. Today I want to talk to you about something that seems really small. So small you might ignore it or think it's not important. But believe me, this tiny thing changed everything for me. It changed how I learn, how I speak, and even how I feel when I use English. And I honestly believe it can do the same for you. What is it? It's a habit. Just one small, consistent habit. And no, I'm not talking about studying for hours or memorizing hundreds of words a day. I'm talking about something much easier, something you can start doing today. It's the habit of listening, just 10 minutes a day. That's it. 10 minutes of real, focused listening. Every day. Let me tell you how I started. I used to feel stuck. I would study grammar rules, read long lists of vocabulary, and still feel nervous when I had to speak. Then one day, I decided to do something different. I picked a short podcast episode in English, just like the one you're listening to right now, and I told myself, I'm going to listen to this every day for 1 week. The first day, I didn't understand everything, but I listened anyway. The second day, it felt a little easier. By the fourth day, I started to recognize words without even thinking. And by the end of the week, I could repeat whole sentences. I didn't memorize them. I heard them, felt them, and they just stayed with me. That one small habit turned into a routine, and that routine turned into confidence. Listening every day helped me understand native speakers better, speak more naturally, and think in English instead of translating from my own language. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need consistency. Even if you're busy, even if you're tired, just hit play. On the bus, during a walk, while cooking. Make listening part of your life. It's easy and it works. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, pick one short English podcast episode. It can be this one. Listen to it every day for a week. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. Just keep going. Let the rhythm, the words, and the patterns become familiar. Let your brain relax into the sound of English. Remember, small things, when done every day, can make a big difference. That's how I learned. That's how thousands of people learn, and that's how you can learn too. You've already taken the first step just by being here. So stay with me. Keep listening. You're doing better than you think. So, what is this one habit I keep talking about? It's this. I started listening to English every single day, without fail. Not just when I felt motivated, not just when I had a free hour. Every single day, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Some days I was tired, some days I was busy, but I still did it. No excuses. I didn't wait for the perfect time or the perfect mood. I made it a part of my daily life, like brushing my teeth or checking my phone. It became a normal part of my routine. And here's the important part. I didn't stress about understanding every word. I didn't pause the audio. I didn't take notes. I didn't analyze the grammar. I just listened. Sometimes I was walking to school. Sometimes I was washing dishes or sitting on the bus. I let the language flow into my ears without pressure. I trusted the process. I believed that if I listened enough, my brain would start to catch on, and it did. Let me give you an example. One morning, I was making coffee, and I played a short podcast episode. I had already listened to it a few times earlier that week. I wasn't trying to memorize anything, but suddenly, as I poured my coffee, I found myself whispering one of the sentences out loud. It just came out naturally, no effort, no thinking. And in that moment I realized, this is working. My brain was learning through listening, without me even trying. That's the power of daily listening. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it consistently. 5 minutes a day can lead to real, lasting progress. You'll start to recognize words faster. You'll understand native speakers more easily. You'll feel more confident when it's your turn to speak. So even if you're busy, even if your day is full, press play. That's all it takes. One small step, every single day. Some mornings, I played an English podcast while brushing my teeth. I didn't sit at a desk. I didn't take notes. I just let the words play in the background while I stood in front of the mirror, half awake, toothbrush in hand. Other days, I listened to a short story while I made coffee. The sound of English mixed with the gentle bubbling of the kettle. It became my morning soundtrack. And at night, when I was washing the dishes, I'd play an easy English video. My hands were busy with soap and water, but my ears were free. It wasn't a big effort. I didn't pause or rewind. I just listened. It wasn't perfect. I didn't always catch every word. Sometimes I was distracted. Sometimes I felt tired. But you know what? I did it anyway, and that's the point. It wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up. Again and again, every day. Even when I didn't feel like it. Even when I thought, this probably isn't helping. I kept going. And over time, those small moments, the ones that felt too simple to matter, started to add up. I started to notice that I could understand more. I could repeat phrases without thinking. I could guess the meaning of words I hadn't even learned yet, not because I studied harder, but because I listened more. Consistency is what changed everything. Not big dramatic study sessions, just small simple habits, repeated over and over. So if your English doesn't feel perfect today, that's okay. If you miss a word or two, it's okay. What matters is that you keep going, that you find little moments in your day where English can fit naturally. You don't need more time. You just need to make use of the time you already have. By the end of the first week, something surprising happened. Something I didn't expect at all. I started recognizing words automatically, without trying. Words that used to feel unfamiliar started to sound like old friends. Phrases that once confused me started to make sense before I had time to think about them. I wasn't stopping to translate in my head anymore. I wasn't asking myself, what does that mean in my language? I was just understanding. Naturally. Effortlessly. It felt a bit like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was consistency. It was the result of hearing the same sounds, the same sentence structures, again and again, until my brain started to treat English like it was familiar, not foreign. For example, I remember hearing the phrase, "it's up to you," in a podcast I liked. At first, I didn't really get it. I thought it had something to do with going up, like upstairs. But after hearing it used in different situations, it clicked. It's up to you means you decide. No one explained it to me. I just heard it enough times in context that my brain figured it out on its own. And that's the beautiful part. You don't need to memorize definitions or study grammar rules all day. When you listen consistently, your brain starts to notice patterns. It starts to connect sounds with meaning, just like it did when you learned your first language. It becomes less about effort and more about experience. You start to feel the rhythm of English. You begin to think in English. And slowly, your confidence grows. That's the moment everything changes, when you go from learning English to actually living with English. And it all starts with a small habit. A few minutes a day, just listening. Then something even more surprising happened. Something I didn't plan or force. I started repeating phrases out loud, just little sentences I had heard before. I'd be walking around my room or making lunch, and suddenly I'd find myself saying, "I'll get back to you," or "sounds good to me." No script, no pressure, just a natural reaction. I would hear a sentence in a podcast or video, and without thinking, I'd say it again. Not because I was trying to memorize it, not because someone told me to repeat after the speaker, but because my brain wanted to try. It was curious. It was ready. And that's when I knew the habit was working. I wasn't studying. I wasn't forcing anything. English had quietly become part of my day. It had slipped into my routines, into my mornings, my chores, my thoughts. That's why it stuck, because it didn't feel like work. It felt like something I did, not something I had to do. It became normal. You know that feeling when you hear a catchy song a few times and suddenly you're humming it without realizing? That's exactly what happened with English. The words were no longer separate from me. They were in me. I could feel the language in my mouth, not just in my mind. and saying those sentences out loud, even if no one else was listening, made a huge difference. It helped me hear my own voice in English. It helped me feel more confident when I spoke to real people later on, because I had already practiced. I had already lived with those words. So if you ever find yourself quietly repeating a phrase you've heard, don't stop. That's not a small thing. That's your brain telling you, hey, I've got this. That's not study. That's transformation. And it starts with something as small and simple as listening. Now, I want you to try this, really. Don't just think about it, do it. Choose a short video or podcast, something simple, something fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to understand every word. Just pick something that feels interesting to you. Maybe it's a 5-minute podcast about daily life. Maybe it's a short story in English with subtitles. Maybe it's even this episode you're listening to right now. Whatever it is, make it your daily companion and listen to it once a day for the next 7 days. No pressure, no grammar books, no notebooks unless you really want to. Just listen, with your ears, with your heart. Let your brain hear the rhythm, the sound, the music of English. Let it soak in while you walk, while you clean, while you sit on the bus or drink your coffee. You don't have to study. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. Because the real learning doesn't come from forcing it. It comes from feeling it. From hearing the same sounds over and over until they become part of you. That's how you build confidence. That's how you become fluent. Not with stress, but with steady, gentle repetition. So give it 7 days. That's all. 7 days of short, simple listening. And I promise you'll start to notice something changing inside your mind and in the way you feel about English. And if you want to go a little further, just a tiny step more, try this. Repeat what you hear. Speak out loud. Even if it's just one line. Even if it feels awkward at first. You don't need to say it perfectly. You don't need to sound like a native speaker. Just try. When you hear a phrase you like, say it with your own voice. Whisper it. Repeat it in the shower. Say it while you're walking or staring out the window. Because every time you speak, even just a little, you train your brain and your mouth to work together. You build muscle, you build rhythm, and you build confidence. No one has to hear you. It's not a performance. It's a quiet promise to yourself. A reminder that you're serious about this. That you're showing up, not just to learn a language, but to become someone who uses it. And trust me, that's the real secret. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Every day. Even for 5 minutes. Especially on the days when you don't feel like it. That's when the magic really happens. So, go ahead. Choose that short video or podcast. Make it yours. Listen, feel, repeat. Day by day, line by line, you're becoming more confident, more fluent, more you in English. You've already started. Just by being here. Keep going. I'm proud of you. One habit, one decision, one change. That's all it takes. And it starts with just a few minutes. Today. Not tomorrow. Not next week, right now. Just by pressing play, you've already taken the first step, and that's something to be proud of. So if you're ready, really ready, to start this journey with me, write in the comments, I'm starting my one habit. Let it be your promise to yourself. Like this video to remind yourself that you've made the decision. And don't forget to check out our daily listening playlists. They're made for you. For this exact moment. No pressure, no stress. Just simple, real English you can listen to every single day. I'll be here, every day, right beside you. We're in this together. You're not alone. You're learning, growing, and becoming more confident, step by step, word by word. Let's do this together. Bye for now. And remember, your English journey starts with just one habit.